All right, so welcome back to our episode of when all things can be manifested, when all things are the good, the bad, and the worst of times. So we're here today with me, Arika, and also Paolo. You guys have been seeing us almost every week, every Saturday. So I upload this Friday nights, but usually it'll be premiered on Saturday. So with that said, the topic was last time we guys uploaded and saw our video was about the ego versus the soul. This time I kind of want to dive in a little bit deeper into our mental health, but also connected spiritually in some sense, because it's really important to kind of understand how, first of all, how relationship works with our friends, our family, and even our significant others, because I'm starting to notice that there's a lot of patterns with all of us that's hurting one another. And I want to talk about this topic very diligently. This is called the anxious attachment and also the avoidant attachment. So, breaking down before we get started, I want to go ahead and ask Paulo what he can think the definition of anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, and maybe dive deep to see if we actually have those things. So I want to hear your side, Paulo. I mean, first and foremost, I know you have like good relationship with with your family members. Sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be bad. I mean, what is your personality like with your family members or even your significant others? What do you think you are?
Um, I'm not too entirely sure what that is. I know you're big on like the twin flames. I've heard that term around, but it it's like something that is more of like I don't know, like oh, like that's my twin, and then they call it each other twin flames, like they're similar type of people. I don't know. But with the whole avoidance attachment and the other one, I'm not too sure what
So
those are.
this is
And I mean, with my family, I don't know. I can't really explain how I am with them. I don't know. You'd have to explain to me.
okay. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deep into the discovery that discovered today. I was really shocked because, okay, first and foremost, for everybody, like he mentioned twin flames. I did not mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a definition of what that means. So, twin flames has been really a trend for a long time. A lot of new agers, I'm so sick and tired of hearing this because the new agers made it sound like it's this romantic-y thing, like, oh, it was sent from above, like this is your person, like you have to go through this healing process in order for you to get with them. That is absolutely not true. So everybody, if you guys are on the internet reading up articles about like twin flames or talking about going through this healing process and all this crap, I'm going to tell you right now, that doesn't pertain to twin flames. That pertains to soulmates. So soulmates are basically people that could be anyone. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could even be a romantic partner. So when you're going through this healing process, like, balancing the chakras, and new agers calls it the crystals and reikis and like, pardon my French, shit like that. Like they think that's what's gonna bring the OS. I don't call it the TF anymore, the twin flame, because they made it sound romantic-y, and that's not what it means. It's not romantic-y. Your other self, your OS, actually triggers the shit out of you. I was like, I'm not even gonna lie. They trigger the crap out of you. It's so cringy. And when I say cringy, it's not because that the other person is a bad person. That is not what I'm saying. Because when I say the other person's a bad person, that pertains to me, that I'm a bad person too. When I say it's cringy is because you're starting to discover about more of yourself. That's the whole this whole thing with the OS Everybody calls it the TF, but I'm going to call it the OS. The OS is basically, this is a spiritual journey. When you meet your other self, it's a phenomenon. You are literally going to be full-blown awakening. You're gonna meet your core wounds. You're gonna see who you really are, like what's wrong with you, and it sucks. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the definition of anxious attachment and avoidant attachment is because I discovered that, I'm just gonna bring it out there now. Might as well say the news. I'm going through a life transition where it pertained to me that I was in a marriage, and unfortunately, it was a trauma bond. It was a trauma bond experience for the last 17 years. And the reason why that is because I realized that I have anxious attachment, which is like codependency, which is like not emotionally stable, lack of boundaries. It's so I really researched on it and I'm like, damn, I'm a therapist and I didn't catch this. I'm like, that's so ugly. So that's something that I discovered to myself.
Hmm.
And then come to realize my other self, I wish he can talk to me so I can give him the discovery, but he's gonna watch this. Go right ahead. Hope you see this. And I'm going to call it out. He has avoided attachments, emotionally unavailable. And then when the emotions, and this is the thing about avoided attachments, is that when someone is, they think it's love bombing, but it's not. But it's literally a person showing their emotions. When they're showing their emotions, they really do genuinely care about them. And they're showing this, this immense, overwhelming amount of love for them. Like, and they do feel it, they do like it, but then once they get closer to it, they get triggered by it. It's really crazy. They get triggered by it, and then once they feel that love, they pull away. They back away, they get scared, they get fearful. But here's the thing is that they do care about the other person, but they avoid it and they try to justify it like, oh, they don't care about me. I'm gonna get rejected. They're having this fear, like this intense fear. And then after the fact, they disappear. They pull back, they disappear, and they're emotionally unavailable. And you're just kind of like, and then as an anxious attachment, you're just kind of like, what the hell happened? What took place? Right? So
Yeah.
that's something that I've been realizing because it's not just me who's experiencing this. This is a phenomenon, okay? Because when you're meeting your other self, it's very cringy. You're starting to see who you are truly, the authentic you. God's going to unveil.
Wait, so your other self helps you learn more about yourself.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Your other self is not the whole point of meeting your other self, because this is the problem with the new agers. I hate that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm a shamanic healer. I am not a new ager, just to let everybody know. I'm all about the traditional teachings. I'm really about the traditional teachings, like when it comes to manifestation. There's
Hmm.
just a lot of people who kind of trend it with the woke culture, and I hate that because they called it it's the new ager. It's stupid. Like they literally romanticize this, you
Mm.
know, OS, the
Hmm.
TF. They really romanticize it. And that is not the case. The whole
Hmm.
reason why you met your OS is because, granted, there is some OS, the TFs, they do end up being together and they get married. But it takes a lot of inner work to get them to merge together. And when I say to get them to merge together, it takes a whole lot of Zen work, peaceful work, and a lot of understanding your soul. It's not the ego that's the problem. They are always in the ego, which is true. We're all in the ego here, right? Because we're always talking about like, oh, there's healthy egos and there's like unhealthy egos, which is absolutely 3D, earth-like, very attached to the earth. Flesh, as you can say. But right now, I'm gonna tell you, when I ended up taking my coaching with Kurt. So he's from Your World All Star. I'm gonna give him a shout out because he's so good. Like if you guys don't see him on YouTube, I recommend to research him. He's a really, really good coach. He gives it to you straight to the point. He doesn't sugarcoat anything with you. He never made this as a romantic-y type, oh, the goal is to go after the TF. No, the goal is understanding your spiritual journey. This is about a soul journey. The soul doesn't think. And I just come to realize that the soul doesn't think. The soul is stillness. The soul is consciousness, not the unconsciousness. This is the unconsciousness, the ego, the duality. This is the reason why everybody's so messed up because we're always so attached to the world and the thinking. Granted, I understand that I'm not saying to disregard your responsibilities. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we're just too much into our ego. We're too much attached to the world that we forget about who we are. We end up forgetting who we truly are, how we were really born from God, like how God really gave us the soul. This right here that you guys see, it's just all shell. This isn't the soul.
Hmm.
This right here is not the soul. Your soul, it comes from within. And I can tell you right now, I've never felt so connected to my soul. Granted, I still feel emotions. Don't get me wrong. I still feel emotions, but I also don't, I can't describe it. The Zen feeling that I have, the peacefulness, it feels like quote unquote numb, but it's not numb in a bad way. It just feels so good. Like right now, I'm looking at my skin, I'm looking at my hair, I'm looking at my body, and like it's morphing into this beautiful, innate soul. Like I
Hmm.
feel so connected to oneness, like the trees, the stars, and I feel right now I'm echoing. I don't know what it is. Like I was telling that to my boss. Like I told her, I'm here, but I'm not here. I can't describe that feeling. I'm here, but I'm not here. And I'm also not attached to the world anymore. I'm not looking for outcomes anymore. Like, you know how everybody's always chasing the next dream? Like, oh, I want to be this. I want to have money. like, I don't feel that anymore. Like, I'm really at peace. But also at the same time, I discovered, like, oh my God, in my past of who I was, why things went wrong in my life, like with my family members, with my spouse, with my friends. It's because I
Hmm.
have this anxious attachment and I had and that comes with lack of boundaries, lack of, self-esteem, worthiness. There's codependency involved. And I was shocked to discover that after feeling this peaceful zen in my heart. Like I feel like it's like God is really connected to me. Like it's so oddly weird. Like
Hmm.
I don't know how much I can describe that because I can tell you right now, Paolo, you're probably not even there yet. But I can tell you right now how it feels that it just feels like there was this aha moment when I woke up and it was like I get it. And I told my coach that like not I told my coach, but like my coach's students, they would talk about it. They're like, I get it. And when I hear their story, I'm like, I get it too. And then it's funny, they have the same answer with him. What do you get? And this is what they say. Like there's no freaking words because I get it, but I have no words to speak about it.
Well, me and my relationship with God is, I feel so aligned to what I'm supposed to. I have purpose. Every day I wake up, I have drive to pursue this dream, and a lot of the things that I encounter, like just reading my Bible every morning, or even little things that I delve into on a daily basis, like affirmations, or even just scrolling through Instagram. Like I feel so that he speaks to me every day, and like he through messages,
Oh, you're on the
through
baby stage.
through and so like I'm just I even have conversations with other of my friends who are believers as well, and it just there's one time I think it was a Sunday I was tearing up because of how it feels like everything is aligning for me. And even though like every day I have purpose, I still don't know what's going to happen in the future, and
Mhm.
I'm surrendering to that, understanding that there are different any day God can direct me somewhere else,
Mhm.
and that is his purpose for me. And as if I just stay along that line, I'll be fine because he just he guides me wherever I need to be. Um And if I try to force what I want, say, I'm in this fighting, I'm trying to be an MMA fighter and get to the highest level, and say at some point in my career, he kind of directs me somewhere else.
Yeah.
If I try to fight that and say, no, I want to be this, and that, he's gonna show me that there's gonna be a reason why I have to stop. If I just decide not to stop and follow his path for me, then that is that is better than finding out that okay, a serious injury that leads to me having to stop force ha leads me to stop, and then now I have to change my ways because of uh a career-ending injury or like something of that nature. So it's like, and we were just talking about it because I understood that it's a day-to-day basis. Like anything can stop at any time. So understanding that, I just feel so grateful. I still feel um so pretty much grateful to be able to each and every day pursue my purpose. So
Yeah.
I wake up every morning and I go to sleep every night being grateful in that sense.
Yeah.
So no matter what, how rough the situation may be, or it could feel like it's rough, but at the end of the day too, I'm also feeling so like fulfilled. Like it's both, but I don't know. Lately, it's just been that's how it's been feeling with me and my relationship with God. So, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Me, I've just been so like I can't describe the feeling. Like even my coworkers, everybody around me has been like saying to me that there is this energy of you that just feels so awing. Like they don't want to leave my sight. Some of them even was like these are all women and men. They would be like, there's just something awing about you that I want to stick around with, like just be around with. Is that okay? And it's like weird. It's like they're getting weirded out, but for me, I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm like, that's fine. As if like they're falling in love, but it's not like the love that's like, oh, I want her like obsessively love, like not like that. But there's this agape love. So the agape love versus the eros love. So I'm gonna just say it this way. So the eros love. So here's the thing, that people need to understand about relationships, that relationships can actually be addicting too. I just found that can actually be an addictive behavior. And I had no idea that that was even a thing. I was like, holy crap, it can be an addictive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the people end up losing their own identity. They're losing their own sight. They lose their self-love, their self-worth, because they're so fixated on a relationship. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what happened to me. And I finally realized, like, oh, not about to lose myself again. So I told God, I'm gonna surrender whatever needs to be surrendered right now, and whatever's meant to be shall never pass me. It won't. It will always stare back and so organically in the organic way, right? It always does. There's always some things that's meant for you. There's always this midst of chaos. Remember, I told you that in my teachings that there's always going to be this midst of chaos that's going to happen. You're going to feel this loss, this grief. And when that happens, big mountains are about to be revealed to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be like, oh, now I get it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But this one that I felt like I get it, but there's like no words that comes out of my mouth because I'm just so
You're like at a
still.
sense of peace.
Yes.
Mm.
Like I have this sense of zen, this peace. Like I'm not chasing the outcomes anymore. I'm not pondering or wandering like, oh, how is this gonna work? Or is this really gonna happen? Or maybe I need to rush things. Now I'm just kind of like, I'm taking my time. I'm all like, I am taking my time. And people are always like, including my OS. Oh my God, I feel bad for my OS. Including a lot of people saying like, oh, but you're 40, like there's this biological pressure, or even my sisters are all like shocked, like, oh my God, you're divorced. Aren't you scared? Why? Why? When God, listen, when if I end up staying married, I will become a widow anyways too, or vice versa. So you're going to go back to square one anyways, right? It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be you, God, and alone once again.
Mm.
So this is the reason why I tell everybody, like, why are we such in a rush with the world? When the world is really temporary, I'm so detached from the world. It's insane. I can't
Mm.
describe this feeling. I'm very, very detached. To the point, like right now I'm talking to you, but I feel like I'm echoing because
Mhm.
seriously, I am that in tune with God. Like this is how I feel. Like this is the world, right? This is the world. This is me. I feel like this. Like I'm here, but I'm not here.
Mhm.
And it feels like this euphoric, like, my boss was even worried about me saying, like, are you okay? Do you need to go to, is something going on? Like, no, you're not psychotic. It feels like that, but it doesn't feel like that. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't feel bad. It just
Mhm.
feels like this, not a euphoric feeling, because I know what euphoria feels like. Because obviously you feel that too when you fall in love with somebody. There's a difference from being in love versus on love. So everybody right now in this relationship, this conventional relationships, this superficial relationship, that's called on love. Because everybody always wants to feel the next love, like, oh, I want to chase it. But the
Mhm.
problem is you're not feeling that in love within yourself. So you can't be in love with somebody. You don't know what that means.
Mm.
That's why it's called unconditional love. That's why God has this unconditional love for us because it's from the soul. He doesn't think. The Alpha and Omega doesn't think. There's no beginning or end. The
Mm.
soul is the same exact thing. There is no beginning or end. That's why I tell everybody, why are we such in a rush of thinking? Why are we such in a rush of the world? Why are we this attached? I didn't know what that meant too, because back then when I was younger, I was always chasing the next big dream, chasing the next big thing, but that wasn't the case.
Mhm.
Now I completely understand what it means to really detach to the world. And I can tell everybody from this testimony that it feels amazing. Like
Mhm.
I have no worry in the world. I have no frigid, care of darkness in the world. I just feel so free. Like as if like my soul is roaming free. Like
Mm.
I'm not trapped in a shell anymore. If I was to die today, I would probably tell you guys right now, I would be in peace,
Mhm.
in a lot of peace. And I could tell you right now today that I would be very, very connected with God at the end of the day. I have so much love for the world. It's so overwhelming. Even the ones that are so horrible. Like this must have been what Jesus felt like because I feel that in my heart. It's
Mhm.
insane. It's insane. Ever
Mhm.
since I turned 40, I ended up going through a life transition.
Mhm.
My soul merged together. And then, I still thank my OS because I had that breakthrough because of that. Because
Mhm.
in an instant, as soon as I was, left in confusion, I ended up discovering, my coach Kurt and really talking about the soul, not the ego. And I love hearing that from a coach because I've never heard that from a coach who
Mm.
always just talked about the soul, the conscious being.
Mm.
And if you guys are hearing me right now, for all of you audience, I'm going to just advise you guys right now. I don't know if you've seen my newsletter, Paulo. Have you read my newsletter lately? Because I've been sending that out.
On an email?
Uh-huh.
No, I have not.
Okay. So I've been sending out some newsletters. If you guys are not in tune, go to my website at www.intertwinedhealingandtherapy.com. Make sure to subscribe because I give out a lot of newsletters lately about the discoveries that I've been really in download almost every day. Every single day, I'm discovering something new and I like to share it with everybody because I want you guys to feel this peacefulness. It feels amazing. I can't even describe how amazing this feels. So,
Hmm.
I mean, one of the things I'm going to tell you guys right now, and this is like, so guess what? This is going to be free coaching for everybody of our audience, maybe even free coaching for Apollo. I mean, would you like to hear like, some of the tips that I can give you to feel this connectedness with your soul?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. I mean, how do you feel right now? Exactly what I'm telling you. Like, what's your
Um,
thoughts?
it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot of um there's a lot that goes behind what you're saying. You've researched, you've delved in, a lot of information that has gotten you to where you are today. And I respect it, but I wouldn't want to say I'm
Confused?
not that well versed in it as you are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm listening and I'm trying to get a grasp of it and how it kind of aligns with my beliefs because it seems a little like it's different. It really is different. So
It
like
it's
you're
confusing.
throwing the OS, the twin flames. That's not something that I hear every day.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird because when I say
yeah,
OS, I don't like to call it twin flames anymore because it's so
yeah.
quote unquote romantic-y when
Yeah,
it's
or
not.
even the other terms, you know what I mean? Those are it's not just those two, but all the other terms, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just listening to you and how like your piece Zen is like mine is like kind of where I am, but it's more in the fact that I understand um that there is a plan for me and that I'm just unfolding the story each and every day. And as long as I move forward um with him, with God, that everything will be unfolded in the divine timing and his great timing.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's my piece or quote unquote Zen because understanding that I'm becoming who he created me to be
Yeah.
is what brings me peace. But say, I mean, it could be a time where, um it's not going to be as pe like not peaceful, but like as enjoyable, right? Like even through the valleys, he's still with you and he's still there with you. You just got to keep on believing and just move forward because it's not always going to be flowers and rainbows. You know what I mean? It's not always going to be the
Oh yeah, it's not
best
going to be like that at
um,
all.
time
No.
of your life. So
This is what I'm going to just
but
say.
but understanding that God does have a plan for you in those moments make it feel like you're at peace still. It's not as enjoyable, but you're still at peace knowing there is something on the other side of that rough patch of your life.
Right. And here's the funny part when you're talking about the whole rough patch challenges and stuff. You know how back then, when I say back then, I'm talking about like last month. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like it's funny how I did feel the peace. I understand where you're coming from. By the way, everybody, there's no right or wrong to anything of what Paulo says or what I say.
Right,
Everybody has a different perspective of what peace and zen means, okay? There's no right or wrong here. I'm not better than anybody or I'm not higher than anybody of where I'm at. What I'm feeling is my experience that I have innated into my
right. And
soul.
that's what like I'm realizing what these podcasts are becoming is more of like you have an experience with your spiritual journey. I have an experience with my spiritual journey, and we're trying to just let others understand more of the difference differences or maybe similarities of our spiritual journeys. So like like I said to anybody, like I come from a Christian background, but I have a Muslim friend who was Christian, but he became Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people kind of bash on him because he's a Muslim now.
Yeah.
But I think everybody, God is everywhere, and I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their ways of reaching, um, you know, their their identity in the religion or whatever they find, as long as they are understanding that they are creating their relationship with God. I think that's number one. You
Yeah.
have to find your relationship with God. So I don't know. I think I'm still like, because of the Christian background that I have, it kind of, how can I say this? It kind of,
Inner conflict.
yeah, it conflicts that because they say that it is just Jesus Christ.
There's a
But
lot of
I'm not,
inner conflict that goes on. So
it
here's
does.
the thing. Yeah.
There is conflict, and which it yeah,
It's
it's
hard. It's
it's
hard to
hard,
break away from
or
that
it's
inner
like kind
conflict.
of difficult to wrap your finger around it because it's like, okay, do I go with the Christian ways of thinking, or is it just the relationship with God? So like I'm listening to you, and it if you spoke to a hardcore Christian, they would for sure try to
Oh, they would
rebuttal
think I'm
you.
crazy. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna just tell you
yeah,
straight up right now. They're gonna think I'm crazy because you know what?
right,
For all you Christians out there, I used to be a Christian as well too. Okay.
right.
Bash me, persecute me. Guess what? It's in the Bible too. Everyone's gonna persecute somebody. Somebody's gonna get
Mhm,
persecuted some way, somehow.
mhm.
No matter
Right.
what your belief is, guess what? This is gonna sound very funny to y'all, okay? To all my Christian buddies that's watching this. That's okay. My church friends are probably watching this. That's okay. I forgive you too. I really do.
Right.
Genuinely, I actually do forgive you because it is actually what God does, really does forgive you. So I've forgiven a lot of people already. I've forgiven lots of people. I mend relationships with my mother. I mend relationships with my siblings. I mend relationships recently, and that's crazy to
Right.
me. Even my spiritual mentor, who I disappeared like for 1 year, and finally we cleared the air, like there's like that healthy boundaries, there's that forgiveness, like,
Yeah.
but it finally cleared the air. Like I was really happy about that, the fact that like I'm really understanding what God is trying to tell me. Because I tell people all the time, I don't care what kind of book you're reading. I don't care what, teachings you're getting taught by spiritual teachers, whatever, whatnot. Even pastors are spiritual teachers, priests are spiritual teachers, life coaches, therapists are, spiritual teachers.
Yeah.
But guess what? At the end of the day, regardless of what you know from other teachings, your soul is the consciousness. It is
Mm.
non-duality, meaning you are the one who is proclaiming a relationship with God. God is the Alpha and the Omega. He is not a book. He is a soul innate, which is
Right.
also you are the soul innate. It doesn't come from a book. So guess what? Your relationship, and this is the reason why everybody's having this inner conflict of whether they should be in this type of relationship, or you should be this in the society. This is the reason why God says detach from the world.
Mm.
The book itself is also from the world, because guess who wrote it? Men wrote the book.
Well, okay, so that's where I can kind of contradict with you because it is men, but they were inspired by God who
Exactly.
wrote the book. So it's
They're
like,
also spiritual teachers. They were also spiritual
right.
teachers. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So I don't see how you could kind of discredit the book.
It's not a discrediting. It's more of like, you got to understand. Remember what I just said, right? I said you
Uh-huh.
can hear from pastors, from priests, spiritual teachers, life coaches. We're actually the new modern, quote unquote, inspiration of the Bibles, right? Because we're writing our own stories too of what
Right.
our relationship is with God. We're just not
Right.
writing it as a Bible. We're just
Right. So,
expressing it.
but reading the Bible understands because God is the same back then than he is now. So when you read the Bible, he's the same in that Bible than he is today on this earth, like as we live today. So whatever he's done for those people back in the day, he could do for you today too.
Yeah, in some level of sense, but also at the same time, I'm still I'm still having that, like not conflict, but I'm also having still that question, where are the women to write
There's
the
a lot of
book?
women in the Bible.
There was no women in the Bible.
Yeah, there is. There's
Which one?
Mary. There's
Who
me.
wrote?
I just read about Miriam.
Oh yeah, Miriam,
Um,
yeah. Mary, Rachel, I know that.
yeah, there's
But the thing is that they didn't write the book. The people who wrote the book was Luke, Matthew, Peter.
well,
Um,
those are who Jesus picked.
that sucks. It has to be all men. Where are the women at?
Well, I mean, it's just how it worked. It's
Why?
just how
Why
it
is it
is.
gotta be like that though? You see what I'm saying? I'm
Jesus
like,
picked those people. I mean,
see what I'm saying? Right now, the women are actually, in a sense, we're being the most okay. This is study research. This is study research, okay? I just really just found this out that for some odd reason in this modern times, women are actually becoming more bigger on spiritual enlightenment. And this is not any means, guys, if you guys are listening, this is not any means of offending anybody or being sexist, nothing like that, okay? I'm just going up by what research is showing, okay? Research shows, and I looked it up, for some odd reason, women are becoming more spiritual enlightened than most men these days. I don't know why. I mean, from back in the day, maybe men was more enlightened than it is now, which is kind of like, wonder what happened to the energy shift here. Then again, there's a lot of talks about past lives, which we'll get into that next time in our podcast. I'm talking like reincarnation, stuff like that. There's so much things going on, like I'm researching, but also at the same time, I will tell you this. My number one thing right now that I feel, like not feel, I can't even say feel, it's not an emotion.
mhm,
It's just the innate of stillness, the
mm,
consciousness. Like I'm very, very oneness with God. I'm very connected. There's no explanation to it. There's no explanation with the soul. The soul doesn't think. There is no thinking with the soul, guys. This right here that we're just talking, spewing about
mm,
books, research, this is all coming from the ego mind. It's all
mhm.
mind. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm telling everybody right now, there's nothing wrong with it. But this innate, you guys can look it up. You guys can go on YouTube, look up the oneness of the soul, and again, talk like look for people who feels that connectedness with oneness with the soul. Like they can tell you the feeling that I'm feeling. Because I'm not the only one. I literally researched this. I'm not the only one. And I'm so glad that I'm feeling this because it's an overwhelming love. Like it's so to the point, like I feel like I'm having a heart attack, but I'm not having a heart attack. That's how it feels.
Mm,
Like I have this overwhelming love. And there is this awe energy that people are gravitating to me. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, I'm not being grandiose, am I? And I'm asking questions. I'm like, I'm not being grandiose, am I? I'm not being like this. Like, no, it's just, I can't explain it. There's just this stillness and consciousness. It's called consciousness, the non-duality. That's why it's called the yin and yang. Even Bruce Lee talks about this. Talks
yeah, I'm
about,
reading about that actually.
yeah, seriously. It's like I have this book from Bruce Lee. It's called Be Like Water. So I
Mm,
still need to finish that one. That's like a really good book. Shannon Lee wrote that for her dad, translated it. And honestly, it's really true. The soul is almost kind of like stillness. It
mhm,
flows,
mhm.
it absorbs the rocks, it absorbs dirt, it absorbs everything, but it doesn't become anything. It just becomes a stillness.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
So yeah, I'm reading the book too. It's called The Warrior Within. It's retold by an author, by Linda Lee Caldwell.
Linda Lee Caldwell, that's his wife.
John Little, forward by Linda Lee Caldwell.
Yeah.
And it's
Linda Lee
like
Caldwell is his
getting up,
wife.
like water becomes the cup. It becomes the stream. So he says that adversity, he kind of has an analogy with adversity. We
Hmm.
as people should be like water.
Yep.
when adversity comes, we should understand to not so much fight adversity or just succumb to adversity, but solve the problem. Because
Yes.
then, the adversity we become the adversity. We understand that it makes us who we are.
Yep.
And then what was he saying? Something about uh the yin and yang. So in analogy, it's like yin and yang. So he said it in martial arts. If someone is being so aggressive, you don't fight it with more aggressiveness. You fight it uh with yin, which is soft. So if someone's being aggressive, you have to understand how to combat it with softness.
Yeah.
And then he says if someone is yin, then you can be the aggressor.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the yin and yang.
Yeah. Which is true. He's not lying
Just
on that one.
understanding that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's not lying on that one when it comes to the yin and yang. It's very, very true. It's a very
Yeah.
innate energy. And that's exactly what an OS is. The OS is really the form of yin and yang. So I'm the yin, my OS is the yang. This is the reason why the energy can be very overwhelming. And I don't blame my OS. I don't. Like it does become very overwhelming. And
Hmm.
it can be very scary. Shit, I felt it. I'm all like, I felt it, I know. But am I going to blame somebody for that? No. Because at the end of the day, this is a soul journey. Everything
Hmm.
that I'm doing is all a soul journey. It's all connected with God. It's all connected to the divine. And this is going to really shock, I'm probably going to piss off a lot of new agers as well too. And I don't care. So like I don't care. I'm gonna hit people with the truth. The universe is actually just a machine for God. The universe actually helps with creating that reality. Like God's the one who's creating, because he's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the one that created the whole universe. So the universe that we are attracting, this law of attraction, is really just a machine that creates the reality. And I just found this out recently, and I said, "Oh man," I'm like, "Am I forwarding this all wrong with my teachings?" But it's not. It actually does coincide together. So you're right, Paulo, when it comes to God. But I'm also right when it's like merged together. So there is this innate energy that creates the reality, that creates this peaceful zen within your soul and your mind. It balances out. So this is why it's called the forming of the yin and yang. The yin is literally the soul, the yang is literally the mind. So that's the reason why you have to balance out your yin and yang because
Hmm.
it's mind, body, and spirit. The body it's just the outer shell that helps with the mind and with the soul to carry. The mind, the
Hmm.
ego, is the one that's making a lot of noise. The soul, it doesn't have noise, like water. It's just flowing. It's just going with life. So this is
Hmm.
one of the things I can't teach you as a tip because we're running out of time because we've been on this for like almost an hour. So we don't want to egg on and on with our viewers here, but we have some good viewers that's been watching. Thank you so much for, tuning us in. But we are looking forward to having another episode next week. Although, granted, the topic was supposed to be anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, but we'll talk about that next time. We just got delved into the whole soul innate. But I will tell you this, here's some tips for all of you guys. If you really do want to connect to the soul, first and foremost, there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. Go for it. If you know how to read it and have a good perspective on it, then by all means use it. But don't use it into a context where it's like control or being abusive towards other people. That is a big, big no-no. I will tell you that right now. That's a big no-no. And also, meditation and prayer is really good. Meaning to say, when I say meditation, I'm not talking about the visionary, that are ones that I teach, like, oh, vision, the white light, stuff like that. No. I want you guys to do a meditation where it's called do nothing. When I say do nothing, I mean do nothing. Like you're going to sit there in nature, wherever you are in a quiet place, in stillness. And I just want you to hear the birds chirping. I just want you to hear whatever you're hearing around you and just stay still and don't let the ego take over you. Don't let the mind talk to you. Don't do it. Just be in silence, be in stillness. for 20 to 30 minutes and see how that perspective will help you out and see if that doesn't connect you to your soul. I don't know what to tell you, but that should be able to connect you to your soul very vividly. And I did that for like 30, almost 30 days straight. And I can tell you right now, life changing, life changing. And my coach, Kurt, I'm going to shout you out right now. Amazing man, amazing, amazing man, amazing man, because he taught me about the soul. He didn't teach me about ego. He taught me spiritual journey in its truest form, and I love it, every minute of it. He even said the first thing in his introduction was, everybody's always talking about the universe, law of attraction, this and that. Okay, dude, how about talking to God first? How about talking to God first? And he's right. How can you be able to manifest anything with the universe, the law of attraction, when your soul's not even intact?
Right.
You're not even talking to God, dude. God's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the end and he's the beginning. He's the
Right.
divine. You don't have a relationship with God, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah,
Anything that
he
you're trying to
created
manifest,
you.
it's not going to happen.
So if you're trying to manifest something that's not supposed to be for you, then you're not it's not gonna go well for you.
Hmm. It's
So
going to be hard
once
for
you
you.
talk to God first, you understand who you were meant to be, then you're manifesting and you're creating a life that's purposeful.
Hmm. That
So
is absolutely right.
I think that's number one because essentially if you're trying to manifest things yourself, you're trying to become God. You're trying to just create whatever you want it to be, not knowing that that isn't who you're supposed to be or who you're created to be.
Yep. And that's coming from the ego. That's
Mm,
the reason why ego, it's not bad. I'm not saying ego's bad. It's not always bad. But I'm saying ego can also be dangerous. I am
yes.
a very intelligent woman, and I know this for a fact with confidence, but that shit can destroy your head. It can
Hmm.
destroy you because
Hmm.
the ego is that powerful. But if
And essentially, it's the opposing, So God is God, and there's someone opposing God, and they get to you through ego,
yes,
and and when and because God is all powerful, when you keep going to your ego, he will break you down.
mhm.
God will break you down. But if you go to God, he will lift you up.
Oh, God will humble you real quick. God will
Right.
humble you real quick. You know why
Right.
I know this? I've seen that first offhand.
Yes.
I felt that first offhand. God will
Yeah.
humble you real quick. And
Yes.
guess what? I felt that last month. I
Mm-hmm.
felt that last month. I felt that my whole entire life. And guess what? My spiritual mentor that I just forgave, she felt that last year
Mm-hmm.
and this year.
Mm-hmm.
Humbled you real quick. It'll strip you. God will strip you down so quick. If you forget your soul and you come from here, God will humble you real quick, real
Mm-hmm.
quick. And this is what I'm just trying to tell everybody. There's nothing wrong with ego. Ego can be healthy too. But again, you stick to that flesh. You don't look into your soul. Like you don't become the consciousness. You don't stay here. You don't
Right.
search your soul. Like I'm not talking about search your soul, but you're not really embracing who you are, what God created you. He's gonna humble you real quick.
Right.
And it's a very humbling experience what I went through last month. And I was so happy that that it came through the way it did. I would never change it for the world. Because guess what? It made me become powerful even more to heal people, to spread this kind of, peacefulness and Zen. I want people to experience this. But again, I'm not opposed to hear people's perspective of what they're feeling of their Zens because their Zen is different from mine.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to feel difference in their Zen. But I know God's powerful. I know for a fact it moves mountains. There's a purpose behind for every pain and everything that you go through. So if you guys are going through that chaos and that calamity or this things that's like very confusing, fret not. There is an answer to that. Just you have to learn to trust the process. Take the leap of faith. That's what I always say, right, Paulo?
Right, yes.
Take the leap of faith. Okay, we're running out of time, so we're gonna go ahead and stop this series. Thank you guys so much for being here when all things are possible, when all things are manifested, when all things are prayed for, when all things are the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the worst, with me and Paulo. So join us again next week. Hopefully that we'll have a great topic. Oh, actually, next week we may not be able to have another video because why? Paulo is going through his fourth fight for
No, 2 weeks from
Bernadino.
now. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. Oh, okay. So we'll be here next week, man. So
Yeah,
we'll catch up next week. But
yeah.
again, if you guys want tickets to see his fight, please go ahead and DM Paulo, Team Paulito, and his Instagram right over here above me. I'm having the screen name shot over here. And then also on top of that, right another above me, you can go ahead and text Paulo over here on his Instagram. So or you can go ahead and DM me on my Instagram right over here, Intertwined Healing. You can always follow us as well too on our TikToks. We'll always be there uploading some new things. Also, please go into my newsletter, subscribe to the channel so that way you guys don't miss out on new downloads, information, things of when all things are possible. So, with that said, I'm saying good night to everybody. And
Good
Paulo,
night.
anything else to say?
No, good night, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.